All right, what up, fellas? We are live. You guys might notice I have a bit of a different background here. I'm actually at my girlfriend's house right now, so let me know how my mic sounds too, because I do not have my regular microphone. If I'm too loud, if I'm too quiet, whatever, let me know. But we do have quite a bit to discuss ahead of Week 12. Got a number of different injuries to go through, a lot of wide receiver injuries, some game time decisions here and there, and some running back injuries. The first couple. Danny will be in here in 1 minute. He's just finishing recording the running back video, but we do have a couple guys already ruled out. We have guys, Joe Mixon has already been ruled out. That obviously upgrades Samaje Perine big time. He is settled into the mid RB2 range in my rankings. We have Raheem Mostert ruled out, which makes Jeff Wilson a top 10 running back for me this week against the Houston Texans. And then we have Leonard Fournette, who is doubtful, which obviously upgrades Rachaad White to a big time play this week against the Cleveland Browns defense, who are literally dead last in the NFL against the run. So I think Rachaad White, huge time upgrade for him. A couple game time decisions as well. We have guys like Marquise Brown and Jamar Chase, who have both been dealing with multi-week absences. They're coming back by the sounds of it this week, but we don't know exactly what their involvement's going to be. They could be limited to some degree. And then we also have Justin Fields, a game time decision, dealing with the shoulder injury that he's been dealing with. So those are like the major fantasy contributors. A couple other guys have been ruled out already too, like Jerry Jeudy and Kadarius Toney and stuff like that. It sounds like Juju will be back from his concussion this week, so he's seeing a pretty big time upgrade. We also have guys like Rondell Moore listed out. Romeo Dobbs is going to be out. Mike Williams is going to be out. A couple other guys there. If I missed anybody, I don't have my monitor to check for sure, but we can get right into some of your guys' comments, and then Danny should be in here shortly. Beanie Weenie in here probably won't happen, but I hope Michigan gets the W today. Yeah, I mean, that's why we're live early, because even though I'm not a Michigan fan, Danny is, I want to watch this game. Ohio State, Michigan, a lot of fantasy prospects on display. Obviously, Stroud, the main quarterback, he'll probably be going in the top 5 of the NFL draft. Then we got Blake Corum, who's expected to play, dealing with a knee injury, but he should be good for Michigan today. And then, the receivers for next year's class with Marvin Harrison and Agbuka. I didn't catch word if JSN is going to play today. I don't think he's going to, just based on the talk from Ryan Day throughout the year, but exciting nonetheless. Should be a great game. Beanie Weenie also says Geno Smith or Lamar Jackson. I keep starting Lamar Jackson and he hasn't been great. Man, that's tough because I love the matchup for Geno Smith. The Raiders are like dead last in the NFL against the passing game. And I talked about it on the wide receivers video that I think Metcalf and Lockett are probably just going to have monster games. So that obviously would apply to Geno Smith as well. So he's in a great spot this week. And I think from like a DFS perspective, the Seahawks stack would definitely be what I'd be rolling with. But Lamar Jackson's the guy, he's the high floor rushing quarterback. He gets the Jags defense, which also isn't very good as well. I think I'd probably still roll with Lamar Jackson, but I don't blame you if you want to go with Geno Smith. The matchup definitely favors him. He's been playing better as of late. Lamar doesn't really have his horses on offense to be able to throw to with Bateman out, but Andrews should be back to 100% and all that good stuff. So I'd personally go with Lamar Jackson, but Geno is a great start as well. Both of them are in my top 6 this week. Crypto Philly says Kamara or Rachaad White. This is crazy because, dealing with Leonard Fournette's injury obviously puts Rachaad White up into this territory. And right now, where I currently have Rachaad White ranked, I think I have him as my RB. He's my RB 15, and he is actually one spot ahead of Alvin Kamara for me. So, yeah, I think I would go with him over Kamara. We know Rachaad White's going to get some receiving work because Tom Brady trusts him in the passing game. Like I said, Cleveland is dead last in the NFL against fantasy running backs. Adjusted fantasy points allowed. The rush defense DVOA is terrible. I think the Bucs should be able to move the ball. We got some weather reports about this game, so that might even help Rachaad White be leaned on a little bit more in this game. I think I would go Rachaad White over Kamara, given that Kamara plays the Niners defense, which is pretty strong against fantasy running backs. Crypto Philly, Cole Kmet, Foster Moreau, or Greg Dulcich. It's interesting that you have this question because I actually have to decide between 2 of these guys in one of my leagues as well. I think Moreau is probably in a great spot to get a lot of receiving work just because the Seahawks, I expect them to put points up on the other side of that Raiders game. Dealing with Cole Kmet is probably out on this decision for me just because we have Justin Fields coming in as a game time decision, and also the Jets are just a great defense in general. So I probably wouldn't go with Kmet, but the decision is between Moreau and Dulcich, and I probably lean with Foster Moreau there, Crypto Philly. Starting Chase if he is active. So the report that I saw today was that Chase will be like a game time decision or something like that. Let me actually find the official report just so I know I'm not messing anything up here. Jamar Chase. Okay. So Chase is listed officially. Where's his stuff? Yeah, he's listed as like a game time decision. A lot of people think he's going to play by the sounds of it, but I would imagine that Chase will be on some kind of pitch count, or, he'll probably only play 25, 30 snaps. And Chase can absolutely get there on that little of production, because he is that guy. He's that dude. He's that good of a player. So I would say you're starting Chase as like a wide receiver 25 to 30. I had him in my wide receiver video as wide receiver 16 to 18 because I thought he was going to be playing, no encumbrances or whatever. So I would say with Jamar Chase, if you have great options, then start them over Chase, but it really depends who you have in that decision there. Beanie Weenie says standard league Pacheco or Gus Bus. I'm going Pacheco there. He's got higher touchdown upside in the offense that he plays in. Not that the Ravens are bad, but I just think the Chiefs could definitely score some points this week. And Gus Bus is coming off of an injury, so I don't exactly know what Gus Edwards is going to relegate in terms of like his workload this week. Kenyon Drake will probably get the majority of the work. Crypto Philly also says Lazard, Juju, or Traylon Burks. So with Juju Smith-Schuster, as long as he's healthy and he's cleared the concussion protocol, he's got to be the dude there for me. Lazard is interesting because I think the Packers are probably going to have to throw the ball to keep up with Philly on Sunday Night Football. But I think Juju, he plays for the Chiefs. It's pretty easy rationale. The Chiefs move the ball at will on offense, and Juju does have Kadarius Toney out of the lineup there, and Mecole Hardman is on IR. So we expect Juju probably to get the majority of the targets there in Kansas City outside of Travis Kelce. Crypto Philly says Cooper, Palmer, or Sutton. Amari Cooper is probably the guy I'm going with just because he's been much more consistent than the other two. Josh Palmer is interesting just because Mike Williams is out yet again, and we saw what he did last week with Keenan Allen back, and the offense was moving the ball a little bit better. But I think it's probably a little too cute to steer away from Amari Cooper, even though the matchup is difficult. The Bucs have been very strong against fantasy wide receivers when they've been healthy, and they are healthy on the back end. You got Winfield back there. Sounds like Logan Ryan's coming back soon, but you have Winfield and Edwards at safety. You have the three corners, Dean, Davis, and SMB. They're all healthy as well. So I think with Amari Cooper, you probably want to temper your expectations a little bit because he is typically the type of wide receiver that if you think he's going to play bad, he's going to play bad. But I think Cooper's probably the guy that you're rolling with just because the target share has been pretty safe for him so far this year. Rachaad White or Kenneth Walker. I'd imagine I still have Kenneth Walker quite a bit higher. The Raiders just suck in general on defense. So, and like I said, I expect Geno, Metcalf, and Lockett to be able to move the ball with ease. And that presents a lot of scoring opportunities for Kenneth Walker. And Kenneth Walker faced a fully healthy Buccaneers defense before the bye. So I'm expecting that he's probably going to have another big game coming off of a down game from Tampa before then. Matt, sup boys, I have a three-parter. So Kyler or Jimmy G. So with the first one there, I'm probably going to go Kyler Murray there. I know Jimmy G had a great game last week on Monday Night Football, but Kyler Murray is coming back from injury. He should be back fully from that hamstring injury. So I'm good to go on Kyler Murray. I'm trying to figure out where I have Jimmy G ranked as of right now. I got to actually move Kyler Murray up because he's not up in my rankings at the moment. So Kyler Murray, I'm going to place him right now, probably behind the other quarterback in that game in Justin Herbert. The Chargers are pretty solid on defense, but I think Kyler Murray should be able to move the ball with ease. I have Jimmy Garoppolo at 14 for what it's worth. So he is still a solid streamable quarterback for me, but if you have an option like Kyler Murray, I'm cool going with him. And then we have pick 3 out of DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Brown, Kamara, Rachaad White, and Najee. Now, I don't know if this is the same league or not, but if you were going to start DeAndre Hopkins anyway, but that might, influence your decision to start him over Jimmy G to begin with. So DeAndre Hopkins absolutely in my lineup of these options, as is AJ Brown as another one of the guys that I'm starting. And then for the final spot there, I'm probably going to go with Rachaad White, like I said in somebody else's previous question, over Kamara and Najee. Najee definitely saw a big time workload uptick last week. We saw him back to the workload that we were seeing from him in his rookie season, which was definitely interesting because Jaylen Warren, I believe, left that game early. And I'm not exactly sure if Jaylen Warren is going to play this week, but that if he is out, then that would upgrade Najee Harris's workload big time. But I'm still going to go with Rachaad White. And then he says Njoku or Dulcich. Heard Njoku might be on a pitch count similar to his last game. Yeah, the other thing too is that I've heard there's weather conditions potentially in that Buccaneers-Browns game. So I would probably go with Dulcich there, Matt. But I mean, interesting because Njoku, even though he was on a pitch count, still saw, decent volume or whatever. So Crypto Philly says, thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of the day. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the day to you as well. Make sure if you guys are not, if you got nothing to do this afternoon, watch Michigan, Ohio State, because it should be a really fun game to watch. Kevin also says DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Garrett Wilson, or Tyler Boyd. PPR need one. So DJ Moore's got a shadow matchup versus Patrick Surtain, who's playing like an all-pro caliber corner this year. So I'm probably going to steer clear of him. And we have Sam Darnold starting, and I don't really know what to expect with him coming off of IR. He hasn't really taken many reps this season. Christian Watson, although he's been very productive at scoring touchdowns, he's not getting a ton of volume, and the Eagles are a pretty tough secondary to begin with. So he's probably not the guy I'm going with. Tyler Boyd is interesting just because we have Jamar Chase potentially coming in on a pitch count. If Jamar Chase were to be ruled out, I think that the Tyler Boyd would be the guy that I would go with. But if Jamar Chase is playing even in a limited fashion, I think I would go Garrett Wilson here. We know Garrett Wilson has honestly been one of the few guys that's been able to produce despite Zach Wilson struggling at quarterback. And now we have Mike White coming in who, was a lot better than Zach Wilson last time we saw him on the field. So I think Garrett Wilson's probably the guy I'm going with, especially in full PPR. He's been very, very productive in the passing game. Domain says, what's good, Corey? What's going on? Just chilling around here. We do have a couple more minutes. If you guys want to fire away any questions, feel free. It doesn't have to even be fantasy related if you want. Danny is hopping in here, so we do have him in the background to take some pressure off. There we go. What's going on, brother?
Well, just going to let everybody know in here, apologies for the late nature. It was just recording today's video, so you guys should be seeing that sometime, 3-4 type of range, I would guess.
Yeah, no worries. So what are your expectations? You got the floor for Michigan, Ohio State.
Well, the positive here is that both Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards are both expected to play in this game. On the flip side for Ohio State, Travion Henderson and Jackson Smith-Njigba are expected out. So that's like a big tilter in terms of potential dynamic. If, obviously we know Marvin Harrison on the outside is going to cause some damage. If we can limit the full dominance, if you will, of him, as good as Ibuka is, I'd much rather see him get 10 targets than Marvin Harrison Jr. in this matchup. If you can limit that outside explosiveness and keep him to 3 in the red zone, goal line type of situations, I think Michigan can take it on this game. Obviously, we know that they're going to dominate up front for the most part. So it's just going to be a battle of the explosive nature of Ohio State going up against, that physical, tough front seven nature of Michigan. I do think that they actually go out there and get the dub this week.
I don't know, man. You got your running backs banged up. That spells trouble for me against Ohio State. If they're not healthy, that's gonna be a problem because Corum has basically been the reason you guys are winning games to begin with. So if Corum is not 100% against the best team that you faced all year, that's gonna be a bit of a problem, I think.
But one caveat there too, though, is Michigan's currently the I believe either number 1 and number 2 basically across the board in defensive metrics.
I don't expect them to hold Ohio State. I think you got to score points also if you want to beat them.
Hold no, but if we're keeping them in that 20 to 24 range, I think we have a chance.
Yeah, that's possible. And we've seen Ohio State struggle this year at times in like halves of football as well.
Yeah. Like if they're going to beat us, they have to play a full game. Cause if they're going to sleep for the first half, it's not going to happen. Cause by then, if Michigan gets a 10+ point lead on you, they're just not going to let you have chances.
Yeah. Are you worried about if you're JSN, I said this on the 2023 rookie pick stock watch, do you shut yourself down this year?
Probably will. If he's not playing against Michigan, I think he's not going to play for the rest of the year.
I think if you're JSN, maybe he comes back for the playoffs. If Ohio State wins this game, maybe he wants to come back and try and win a natty. But I think if you're JSN, it would probably just be smart to declare for the draft. The teams are going to draft him in the first round off of his sophomore tape. He's not gonna fall out of the first round. I guarantee it. With the way that wide receiver is overvalued in the NFL, what he did his sophomore year with Garrett Wilson, with Chris Olave on the field, I don't think teams are going to hold it against him if he had an injury-riddled final season. If he's just like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to make sure I'm healthy for the combine. All the medicals are clear and stuff.
Agreed. By the way, I just quickly got to address it because, come on, we didn't get to say it basically since Thursday. But, man, I'm really happy with how the Cowboys came out in that second half. Because, the first half, obviously, they started slow. New York had a good game plan, but once 4 got the turnovers a little bit taken care of, the miscommunications on the receiving end taken care of, that offense looked unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. I'm just glad the Giants hit the backdoor cover for my bet.
Yeah, it was so funny. The Cowboys were just playing soft. They're probably told like, "Hey, let the Giants cover." A lot of people can win money. They're like, "Yeah, no problem,
That's
got
part
you."
of the stuff that makes me think football might be rigged sometimes. Is you're like, yeah, the spread was 9.5 on this game. So while people probably bet it live for the Cowboys to cover or something, we're gonna just like hit the reverse button and get
Because
some
all the
people some
sharp money
cash
went on
back.
New York. All the sharp money went on New York spread.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Big time was on the New York spread.
yep. Rashad White over Tony Gibson. Antonio
I think he
Gibson.
means
Yeah,
Antonio Gibson, but yeah,
absolutely. Rashad
yeah.
White is actually a top 12 running back for me this
You
week.
have him at 12, eh? I have him
12
at 15,
overall.
and I thought I was high on him.
Just the matchup is so good. Again, the only negative here is that you guys really just can't damn run the ball at all. But I mean, having a more creative runner that can work in space rather than Fournette, who just puts his nose down and gains like 3 yards every time. Like I think that's a better fit for your current offense.
Right.
Not to mention, I mean, as bad as you guys are at rushing the ball, Cleveland is just as bad at stopping the run.
Yeah, well, I mean, we ran the ball well against Seattle too. So, and Seattle's a
Yeah,
better run defense than Cleveland, and also,
by far.
we have. I think they figured out their starting five on offensive line until Jensen comes back with Nick Leverett in there instead of Luke Gadecki, who fucking sucks.
Gadecki,
So, yeah, I think Leverett's been a lot, and
second
he's
round
he's
pick.
an undrafted rookie too, so he's getting kind of better as the season goes along. And Hainsey's a first year starter at center too, so they're starting to get a little bit better interior wise at run blocking. And Rashad White also looks better as far as like his decisiveness is
Yeah,
concerned. Because at the beginning of the season, when he was running the ball, he was trying to dance around like Fournette. And
like
I mean,
Swift.
if one of them is going to dance around, it should be White because he's the more limber
Yeah,
guy. But he also just didn't kind of now that he's more decisive and hitting holes a little easier, then he's just way more explosive, and he's
and
also going to have a receiving floor if he's the only running back too.
hey, at the beginning of the season, he was more so DeAndre Swifting it.
Yeah, no, but he looks a lot better now. He looks better. Like he
Yeah,
was
no,
such a
I
hard
was just
watch
joking.
for me for his college film because I was like, there was moments where I was like, man, this guy really looks like the type of running back that you could
But
rely
he just
on
didn't
for
look
like
like
an
he could play
every
running
down
back.
workload. But at times he also looked like Kenyon Drake, where it was like, oh, he's going to be a good like committee back, but he's never going to be a guy you want to give a full workload to.
Yeah, I feel you. Also, like, is Corum like limping, like walking out?
That's what I'm saying, dude. If
Oh,
Corum is not healthy, man, like you
oh my
guys can't
lord,
win this game without him.
dude, look at the brace on his knee, bro. Look at how big that brace is on that knee.
Ugh.
It's
The other
huge.
thing, if you're Corum too, like you don't want to jeopardize your draft stock
Yeah.
either.
I will say though, even if like Corum only touches the ball like 8 to 10 times in this game, let's just say, like if Donovan Edwards is healthy, I think we'll still be fine running the ball. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing.
that's fair.
If we
But
didn't
like you
have
need
either,
like if you guys can't run the ball like
oh, it's over.
extremely
Yeah.
well, like you've been doing all
Um.
year, you're fucked. Like Ohio State's gonna beat you.
Yeah. I just, man, I fucking hope that what's it called? I hope that Donovan Edwards can handle the load because I mean he's good as well. Like if he's healthy as well.
Well, yeah, and if we see
Kamara,
glimpses
Rashad
of
White,
him handling the workload too, that upgrades the 2024 running back class a little bit.
here's one for you, Reese. I would actually have Rashad White higher than Kamara in my rankings this week.
Yeah, somebody asked
The
this
the, the
earlier in the stream before you
yeah,
got in here. I agree. I have Rashad White ahead of
not,
Kamara. The
Niners
49ers
matchup's
are a
no
lot
joke.
stronger against the run than
Yeah.
the Browns are.
Third on the matchup chart.
Yeah.
Pierce, Robinson, White, worried about the DPS bomb last week. He also has the toughest matchup. You're sitting Brian Robinson pretty easily here. Pretty easily.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I know he's just a Falcon, so it's like a great matchup for the run, inherently, but the Falcons are a lot actually worse against the pass. I think the Commanders are probably going to move the ball through the air against the Falcons. And also Gibson outsnapped Brian Robinson like 68% to 32%. He's starting to inch back into his full workload, which is interesting too, because McKissick was placed on IR about a week ago. So I mean, Gibson's getting all the valuable work in that offense now. Brian Robinson is basically like Damian Harris now. If you look at Gibson,
Yeah.
maybe he's not getting quite the workload that Ramondre is getting, but he's like in that range where you're like 65% of the snaps versus like 30%, and it's not valuable work for Damian Harris when he was healthy.
Side note, dude, Ramondre Stevenson had over 20 PPR points on 36 rushing yards and no touchdowns because he went 9 for 76 in the air.
Yeah, it was like Kamara those first couple games before he had the 3 touchdown game. He had like 15 and 20 point games in PPR.
So on my breakouts video, I had both Etienne and Ramondre on it. But the reason why is because I thought they would actually have like the flip ways of getting there. Travis Etienne would have the Ramondre Stevenson path. Ramondre would have what Etienne's doing. Etienne is getting like fucking 22, 23 like I think it was 23.7 opportunities per game in the video. 23.7 opportunities per game, and he's only like barely cracking like 3 targets per game right now. Like they're using him like
which
a
is
grinder.
super strange.
Yeah.
It's because they don't have a good grinder on that offense. So maybe with Darrell Henderson coming in, they'll use him on early downs because he's better than Jermichael Hasty, who just fucking isn't good. So
sucks.
But they definitely. The other thing too is like, is Snoop Connor injured? Because Snoop Connor would make a lot of sense as like a compliment for ETN to take away the dirty carries, because we don't want ETN getting 25 carries a game. Like that's not what I want. ETN.
Agreed.
He's a good runner, and he's a better runner than he is a receiver. Which I mean, contrary to popular belief, because he was a really good runner at Clemson, but you do want him getting more receiving work than he's getting right now.
Also, one thing too, one of the reasons why New York covered the spread is Michael Parsons got a personal foul call. He got a
I know. I was like very happy when I saw that.
And there was like no clip as to what actually happened though. It's a little funny. Don't like Kamara's matchup with the 49ers. He's still going to be a top like 15-ish type of running back. Like again, you're limiting your expectations. He's going to be in that mid RB2 range, but like he's still before the last few games, like he was getting 6, 9, 9, 10 targets. Like we need that level of receiving output for Kamara, because otherwise, I mean, he might average like 2.4 yards per carry in this game.
Yeah. Kamara is probably not going to do much on the ground. So yeah, he better see the end zone, or he better get a lot of receiving work. And also, so what Reese is referring to, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you don't have Twitter, I tweeted yesterday, like, shout out to all my American friends, but like England's going to smash you in the World Cup. And then the game was a draw and they tied, and everybody was like, clown, this didn't age well. Old takes exposed or whatever. And I was like, look at this clown making stupid predictions. I don't know shit about soccer. I just know that England was good. And I was like, you know what? I see everybody posting annoying like England. Like I saw somebody post a meme of like Thomas Jefferson like RKOing like an English English historian person. And I was like, okay, like does the US actually think they're gonna beat England? Because I didn't think they were going to.
Wait, did you see the one where it was like comparing England to the US? Let me see if I can find it. It was like
it the our queen versus your queen
SEC,
thing.
SEC championships, pro leagues, like all that. And then finally it was like queen count, US 0. England had 1 and they scratched it off and wrote 0. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah. Did you see the our queen thing? It was like the Olivia Dunn from LSU or whatever. The gymnastics like chick, and then it was like your queen. It was just like a picture of her casket. It's like, damn, you guys are savages.
People are trolls. If Bijan doesn't, but by the way, okay, he's gonna declare because he's a fucking running back, and it'd be absolutely ridiculous if he didn't. But could you imagine everybody trading for 2033 picks, giving up 2024 pluses, and then Bijan just in the next year?
Dude, if Bijan doesn't declare, I'm gonna fucking snap. I mean, I'm not going to as a Texas fan because that'd be awesome, but like, no, he better fucking declare, dude. I'd be pissed if he's not this draft class.
Worked hard to get the 101 and 102. Yeah, no, that would be straight pain for you.
I just how stupid the 2024 running back class would be if Bijan was in it, though.
That's what I'm saying. A guy like Donovan Edwards would be like RB7. Like, what?
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Like fucking Rocket Sanders, Braylon Allen.
So good, dude. Dude, have you seen his profile this year?
To be like the 104 in that class, 105.
He's a true sophomore this year, averaging like 6.7 yards per carry, 1,400 rushing yards, and has like 29 catches.
Yeah, he's gross, man. Him and KJ Jefferson, they just run all over people.
Oh, yeah. Giants fan here. Those damn Cowboys for fantasy Paul disappoint me, and I wish CD's catch would have been ruled a touchdown instead of their touchdown. Yeah, so, okay. First of all, like, CD's catch, it wasn't a touchdown. He didn't get the heel in. I understand it. Yeah, dumb rule. Like, if he gets his foot in, it should count, but realistically, the rule's the rule. It's not a touchdown. However, I am extremely excited about Pollard's game, even if the box score didn't meet it, because he had 20 opportunities and dominated Zeke in terms of overall snap and opportunity share.
Yeah.
That is what you wanted to see if you have Pollard. Obviously, it stinks because you're hoping for, another 20-plus PPR point performance, but, like, moving forward, like, this is, like, next 3 weeks he plays, Indianapolis is tough. After that, Houston and Jacksonville back-to-back. Like, if you have Tony Pollard, you're making your playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, too, that quick shout-out, I'm playing against a Battle of the 101 in my Bitcoin league against Caleb, and he had both Peyton Hendershot and Jalen, or who's the other tight end that you have? Jake Ferguson in his lineup, in his flexes. So they put up like 20 points, like between the two of them.
Bro, he's probably cheesed when he saw that Hendershot end around.
Yeah, so annoying for him. But
Oh,
I don't think it matters in this league because even though we're both 1 in 10, it's max points for as it should be, and he has less than I do. So I don't think I'm gonna get the 101 in that league, unfortunately. Because I have Drake London, I have Jefferson, I have Herbert, I have Watson coming back this week. Like I probably shouldn't get the 101 in that league.
yep, literally. Sub Canadians, big week for me in redraft. Campbell, Watson, DPJ, Burks, Mostert is doubtful for the flex help. I love Mostert, but you can't put him in your lineup with that doubtful tag, even if he suits up. Like he might get like fucking 15% of the snaps for all we know. In terms of the other ones, I mean, I think I would lean Burks here, but DPJ, like all those receivers are in like that 27 to like 38 range,
I
probably.
have Watson the highest out of these receivers. So
Yeah,
that's probably who I would go with, but Burks is probably the safest bet for targets
yeah, I'd probably agree with
in that
that.
format for sure. But like Watson, I mean, the Eagles are going to put up points. So if the Packers got to throw the ball, I think Watson's kind of
Yep.
established himself more as like a guy that's going to be used in the red zone and a guy that can get some targets. So I think I'd go Watson, but Burks is also a solid option.
I don't mind that. Yeah, all those receivers are relatively close though, so I wouldn't be surprised if we completely flip that and Paris Campbell's like the leading player
Oh,
out of
quick
that group.
update on my startup. Just out of just I want to update you on who's like on the board still. So we're in the 10th round at the moment. I was able to snag a couple players recently. I grabbed Brandon Ayuk at the 6'11. Then I traded
Steal.
down, I believe. I got Mac Jones at the 7'12 as my second
I
quarterback.
saw
I was
that.
like, you know what,
And
that's pretty
Dotson,
solid. Um, and then I just made a pick this morning. I got Jahan Dotson at the 9'11.
Jonathan.
Yeah, which is pretty solid. So my
Yeah.
team right now is I got Mahomes, Mac Jones as my quarterbacks. I'm building like a tank. So the way that this works is it's max points for the rest of the year once the draft is done, however many games that is, and that's who wins like the mini pot this year. And then head to head normal dynasty league after that. So I tried to grab players that wouldn't score me a lot of points this year so I could tank my own first round pick. So I grabbed Javonte Williams, AJ Dillon as my top 2 running backs, guys that I expect to accumulate value, but probably not put up a lot of points. And then my wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Jahan Dotson. Then Kyle Pitts is my tight end who's out for the rest of the year. So hopefully I'm able to secure the 101 this year because there's only like 1 or 2 other teams trying to do what I'm doing. And I think I'm doing it better than them as far as like points are concerned. So
Side note, I'm just looking at the startup board. I think that JP Bergner guy is playing it like very smart, if you will, intuitively for this season because points 4. That's basically just best ball. So
yeah,
what I'm just noticing because I'm looking at the startup right now, what he did is when he traded out of the 3 and 4 and he got multiple picks in the meat rounds, he's giving him more chances to hit on the season week because it doesn't matter if he wins his like head to head. It just matters if his team has the max points 4. So Gibson, Myers, and Deontay, one of them is probably going to have a better week than like Najee Harris or Nick Chubb or something like that. You know what I mean?
right.
You give yourself more options. So really curious because I think like just looking at this board, he might be one of like the top teams for this year because of that.
His team's not in a bad spot long term too.
No,
With
that's what I mean.
the guys who get like Hurts, Andrews, those guys are in decent spots too. The other thing, if I was going competitive, I would 100% be going 0 RB because we're in the 10th round. Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson are still on the board.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go for a win now, like team, like why would you draft an early running back when you can get like stack up 4 or 5 of those guys and have a chance at the championship with like a stud wide receiver and tight end and quarterbacks?
Yep, I'd agree. Eagles defense are Ravens leading Eagles. I'd probably go with the Eagles still.
I don't think we answered domain there.
Oh, I missed that. Godwin, Pittman, Chase.
I'm probably going Godwin there. Chase is
Yeah.
probably not going to see a full allotment of snaps. I had him at, I think it was like 16 or 17 in my wide receiver rankings video, but now that I think he's like a game time decision type of like vibe that we're getting about him, I'm probably going to move him down like into like the mid to late 20s. So if you have a player, I think I would probably start both Godwin and Pittman over him if you had the choice to do that, but Godwin would be the guy that I would go with if you're just starting one.
Agreed. Eagles are Ravens leading Eagles. I would agree with you. I'd go with the Eagles there. Touchdown favorites at home. I think they'll be able to get a nice little bounce.
I mean, you got a lot more turnover prone quarterback with Trevor Lawrence though for the Ravens defense.
I do think that the Jaguars could potentially win that game straight up though.
It's interesting. I know my underdog pick of the week this week is like so obvious to me, like the team that I'm going with.
Let me check the spreads. See if I can guess it.
We don't want to spoil anything for tomorrow's live stream.
I'll text it to you.
Yeah. There's one that's very obvious to me that I think should be just favored. I don't even think they should be underdogs.
Oh, I know exactly which one you're doing. I'm going to message it to you right now. Is it that team?
No, that is not that team. No.
That one's interesting to me though.
That one's pretty interesting, I think too.
Yeah.
AJ
Gibson
Dillon
and
or Antonio Gibson in
Dillon.
long-term
Or
dynasty.
yeah,
In
Dillon.
dynasty, I'd rather have AJ Dillon.
Yep, agreed. How many leagues are you guys in? Redraft alone, I'm in like 6 right now, and they're all either like all my leagues. I'm either 8-3 or 9-2 in redraft this year.
Yeah, I wish, man. All my redraft leagues are torched by injuries.
Bro, fam, pain. Also, I had like half my lineup in our fucking Patron league play on Thursday. I had Ramondre, I had Singletary, I had Diggs, and I had Lamb. Oddly enough, if I had waited a little bit longer, I probably would have played Latavius over Singletary. So that kind of stinks.
Yeah, that's not that great. In our Patreon league, the only guy I had playing was Prescott, and he only dropped like 16 points and a 6 point per passing touchdown. So that's not great.
That's all he dropped in 6 point. I thought he dropped more than 6 point.
No, just 16.84. I believe we have. I think we have strict like interception rules. I think we have like -3 for interceptions or something.
Gotcha. Okay, that probably makes sense. Yeah, he did the same for me. Which oddly enough, it's because again, I hate to be like that guy that always says this oddly enough about the Cowboys, but if I obviously you watch the game on Thanksgiving and people are gonna be like, oh, you threw 2 picks. Like one of them, they completely thought it was a free play. Like the whole Cowboys offense you saw completely thought it was a free play, thought that the Giants jumped, wasn't, got picked off, terrible miscommunication on the outside with him and Gallup. And the second one, first of all, I don't know how that didn't really get called for any type of contact. I'm not gonna lie. The one where he threw the seam ball to Lamb.
Yeah.
Like that was a little sketch, tipped up, whatever. You can't really do much about it. Second half, I think he legitimately went. I want to say like 15 for 18 in the second half.
Yeah, he was pretty lethal in the second half for sure.
Oh fuck! And then of course that CeeDee Lamb catch off his fucking helmet on the sideline was disgusting.
Yeah, it was really nice. But yeah, I'm in only 3 redraft leagues, and this is my 7th dynasty league that I'm joining in. But 2 of my dynasty leagues are best ball, so they're more like. And I'm also, for what it's worth, this is my 7th dynasty league, but this is also the 5th productive struggle that I'm doing, and I'm only actually competing in 2 dynasty leagues. The rest of them are like in the process of building up a monster.
Dude, in our Tone Setter Truthers, I don't know how I have 4 wins right now.
You have 4 wins?
I have 4 wins.
Like? Also, by the way, I know this guy's like taking the biggest fall from grace of all time, but we're in the 10th round right now of this startup, and Cam Akers is still on the board.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And also like the QB position, you know who I'm starting to get really high on from like a long-term dynasty situation? I think taking a shot on Malik Willis in the 10th and 11th round of a startup is like extremely smart.
Yeah, I don't mind
like
that.
If you miss, like realistically, the type of wide receivers you're getting at this area are like, Sky Moore, Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas types. Like the running backs you're getting in this area are like Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, like Cam Akers, James Conner types. And then, but at quarterback, if you hit on Malik Willis, like he's gonna be a top 3 round startup pick next year.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that.
Like
I also don't mind
it's like a risky pick because he could obviously be replaced by Tannehill. Like they could just keep Tannehill. They could, if they replace Tannehill, they could just draft another quarterback in the 1st round or whatever. But I don't know, man. I think Malik Willis is going to get his chance to start like in the next year or 2. Like it's probably not a guy that you'd want to take if you're competing, but he can run, man. Like if he actually develops as a passer, he could be, the next Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that at all. How likely does Ramondre stay the clear running back 1 in New England for 2023?
50-50 probably.
Yeah, even if they don't bring back Harris, like they could easily.
The Patriots always draft A3 running backs. Like it's something that they always do. They drafted Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris this year. I wouldn't be shocked if Damian Harris goes on in free agency, which he will. I highly doubt they're going to re-sign him. They'll probably draft like Mo Ibrahim in round 4 or something like that to add to the backfield. I think Ramondre between him and Dameon Pierce, because they're both like 4th round running backs that are current RB1s or RB2s in fantasy right now. Ramondre to me is much more likely to hold his job than Dameon Pierce is.
He's just a better running back, to be honest.
Yeah, that and just the way the Patriots operate, they like low cost running backs. I highly doubt they're going to like draft a 1st round running back to replace Ramondre.
I'd agree with that. Just looking through some of my lineups, making sure I'm not completely costing. Also, so Leonard Fournette's officially out then, right? Like officially? Because I went under the premise that he was like, yeah, he is. What am I talking about? It was who else was it? Somebody else was questionable. It was Josh Jacobs. That's what I'm thinking. Not Leonard Fournette. Josh Jacobs, he's out, right? Because I went under the assumption that he was doubtful, so I just didn't include him in.
Sorry, can you repeat that? There's so
Josh
much chat
Jacobs, he's
going on.
doubtful, right?
He's doubtful in this game.
I believe so.
I thought he was downgraded to questionable.
Let me check. NBC Sports Edge. Questionable, right? He got added on Friday, though.
Right. So that's
interesting.
definitely interesting because the late edition usually doesn't mean good things.
I just left them on the will they play tier because I don't know if they'll play.
Right. And I mean, Zamir White obviously becomes a guy that needs to be added if Jacobs is out. Zamir White kind of stinks. Like literally the worst charted yards created running back in the history of yards created. But he's still a guy that'll probably be a low end RB2, high end RB3, like Latavius Murray range if Jacobs is out.
By the way, dude, fucking Diggs and Hawkinson outscored Pollard and Gallup 37 to 19.4 in my home league. Because Hawkinson fucking fell into the end zone.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, dude, I had an alt receiving yards bet with Hawkinson getting 50 plus receiving yards, and he had 43, and Jacoby Myers hit 60 on the final play of the game, and
you would have won if
the Vikings were also the other part of that. The Vikings minus 2.5, so that would have been I think it was like a $280 payout or $300 payout on a $10 bet if TJ Hawkinson catches one pass for 7 yards more,
bro. So what the fuck is my running back depth in the Patron league?
Yeah. Yeah, Reese, I tend to agree. I think I'm much more bullish on Ramondre in Dynasty than I am on Pierce, for example. Just Ramondre again, like I know that he has like low draft capital, just like Pierce, but it's the Patriots. They operate differently, and also Ramondre is like producing at a high level right now. So like the win now production you're getting is also better than what you'd be getting out of Damian Pierce. So I'm pretty much all in. I talked about Ramondre as a guy that I'm buying for a dynasty contender because he's the perfect blend of a win now piece that you're getting, RB1 production out of, but also at least until the NFL draft, he's not going to fall off in value. So even if you didn't win the championship and you were like, oh, I'm going to rebuild, I want to sell off Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris is going to move on in free agency. So people are going to vault Ramondre Stevenson as a top 10 to 12 dynasty running back because they're going to be like, oh, he's going to be a workhorse there next year. And you should be able to, even if you didn't want Ramondre, sell high on him for at least a 2024 first, I'd imagine.
Yep. I would probably agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So the game is kicking off in about 15 minutes. I got some food on the way and I'm fucking starving. So unless we have any, Goonboy just hopped in here. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below. We will go. We've been going 37 minutes so far. We'll go to the 40-minute mark. So we'll go for another couple minutes. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below. But otherwise, we will hop off of here soon so we can get ready for this game.
Go Blue, by the way. What's up, Goonboy? Reese says, I spent a 2023 late first in Nico Collins for DeAndre Hopkins 6 weeks ago. Yeah, like if you're competing, that's a fucking more than
that's a great dude. I'd be comfortable giving up a late first for Ramondre straight up easily.
Yeah. No,
but you got Hopkins along with that. Like that's a great move.
Yeah, facts. Y'all in any keeper leagues as opposed to Dynasty? We keep 8 every year. It's tough. I used to be in a keeper league for a while, but I just kind of noticed it was starting to get stale because like you don't have like the added aspect of like, oh my God, you get excited for rookie drafts. But at the same time, you don't get the exciting aspect of, oh, I get to get a fresh team every year. So it felt like for the most part, like that initial draft, because we have varying varying players with different skill in our league. So like we'll have, guys like me, a couple of guys have absolutely stacked teams because we got great keepers. And then some of like the guys who are on the bottom of the standings every year didn't have great keepers, and then they were already operating at a disadvantage. So a lot of those guys became a lot more unmotivated. They didn't want to set their lineups. They didn't really want to like play because realistically, like I had keepers of like Stephon Diggs, Alvin Kamara, and like Jonathan Taylor, and like somebody else had a keeper of like fucking like James Conner and fucking like an average wide receiver 2 and like an RB3 type because it was a rookie keeper as well. Like it was just so unfair at that point. Not to mention, like you expect, like I'm going to be a better drafter than him anyways. So then by the time we're looking at our drafts after the draft, like his team has like no upside. Now mine's just loaded to the brim. So it was like, okay, like let's at least try to get more of a skill gap or take out the skill gap here because this keeper value is already fucked. Now you got the fact that, again, those elite difference makers like McCaffrey, etc., aren't available to carry a bad team. It left a lot of people undesired, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of keeper leagues. I've actually never played in one personally. I'm not a big fan of them. If I did play in one, I would want to do one that's like a
All
one or two
competitive.
keeper, just
Yeah.
like one or two keepers. And I prefer to just go all the way to redraft or all the way to dynasty. I'm not usually a fan of going in between.
And the other thing too, of course, again, like if you're going to do a keeper league, like I need at least 80-90% of the league to kind of have like a not similar skill level, but everybody to be like, competent, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
'Cause-
You don't want like 4 casuals and like 7 sharp or 8 sharps or whatever.
Because then otherwise it's just going to be fucking murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron Jones or Latavius? I have Aaron Jones higher in my rankings this weekend.
Yeah, I do as well.
What you order to eat?
I got some brekkie. I got a
Love it.
avocado bagel with like egg and stuff, and then also some soup.
That's a classic, Corey. Later, guys. Later, Domain. What's up, gents? Been a minute out here taking L's all over. Payne, wow, how you taking an L, homie?
Yeah, he's probably taking injury L's or whatever. Maybe he's
Oh,
got like
Payne.
Mixon or Fournette or something like that.
Fair.
Anyways, my food is actually here, so
Yep.
I'm probably gonna sign off of here.
Yeah.
If I don't know if you want to stay on here for another minute or two.
I'll probably head off, but I'll just say everybody in here, again, 7 of you still in here. If you guys have any more questions, of course, Patron DMs, Twitter DMs, everything. Again, like we are here for you guys. So, if you want to save something as opposed to just, relaxing and enjoying the Sunday morning live stream, as opposed to waiting for your question for a half an hour, that's probably in your best interest.
Yeah, and for sure, if you guys are watching this after the fact as well, these are for our patrons only. If you want to be a part of these, you can join in the comment section down below or in the description as well. So you can check that out. It's fairly cheap to get involved in this, and I want to see if we can do these during the off season. I don't know exactly if we're going to or not. Maybe we'll schedule them for like specific points in time. Maybe we'll do like a combine live stream for our patrons or something like that. But anyways, definitely appreciate you guys. We also have a couple more comments here.
Last we'll get too quickly. Keeper league, don't like it much. No, I fully agree. That was the thing too. Like trading for picks and like that, and you realize like, oh well, it's already fucking stacked. But then you get the guys that sell off their team and then eventually like have a stacked team the next year. Yeah, it just kind of got like fucking cringe, to be honest. Go blue, kind of. Yeah, let's go blue, baby.
I think Reese isn't Reese like
MSU.
not.
He's a Michigan State fan, so basically he's like he hates both teams. But I mean, with how dominant Ohio State is, like if it was Michigan State, Ohio State, I would do the same thing. So
yeah,
like, I feel him. Just bad beats, Payne. Danny, I'm taking that number 2 rookie overall in tone setters. Yeah, Payne, like you did shout out Justin Fields for being so good, but also shout out because he fucking ruined my pick.
Keeps winning you games.
Yeah, literally. Either way, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Signing off. I'm getting ready for this beautiful game. Go blue, baby. Let's ride.
Yeah, sounds good. Take it easy, fellas.